Yang Bapak tanyakan, kalau seandainya Bapak bilang, Kak nggak usah nikah sama Sam, kamu mau?
I don't know why, but something tells me Citra's dad doesn't really approve of Sam as a future son-in-law anymore. So, given that Citra's always said that she'll follow her dad's advice, does that mean that her and Sam's relationship is over?
Alangkah kamu bisa pertimbangkan dengan kejadian demi kejadian. Hal yang paling terburuk, kalau sekiranya Sam dapat putusan dari pengadilan, kalau Sam...
Now, before we dive into all of these pre-wedding complications, let's just start at the beginning. So, we left the pair last week, as Sam finally came clean to Citra's dad about his diversion paperwork up. How his mistake, his failure to file the paperwork in time, might see him in jail. Surprise, surprise, that wasn't the news that Citra's dad, a cop, a drug enforcement cop, wanted to hear. Not exactly future son-in-law vibes right there. But, for now at least, the wedding is still on, and Citra needs a dress.
My dream American wedding is from that Twilight movie, in the woods, like it's just romantic. Like at night time.
Citra's just like any other girl her age. She wants to marry a vampire boyfriend in a forest. Is it too much to ask? I mean, traditionally in Indonesia, Citra would be shopping for her wedding dress with her future husband. But today, in keeping with American values, today she's joined by her two sisters who have flown over to be with her. She tries on dress number 1, but it isn't right. But then she tries on dress number 2.
Iya ini cocok buat garden ini. I look amazing and I look beautiful on that dress.
Now, I'm certainly not an expert, but if a dress makes you feel that confident, then it has to be the one, right? But while Citra appears to be an incredibly chilled out bride, I mean, she has only tried on 2 dresses after all. Her sisters, on the other hand, aren't exactly on the same chilled out vibe. You see, they're concerned that maybe this wedding and all of the preparations are a bit too rushed.
Iya, bukan buru-buru, ini kan planning udah lama. Tuh, you yakin mau nikah sama Sam? Beneran apa?
Ah, okay. So it seems like Citra's dad has filled in his other daughters about the Sam jail situation. As concerned siblings, they ask Citra what on earth she plans to do if Sam actually does go to jail. And to be honest, it's a fair question. It's a question that we've all been waiting to hear the answer to. And she's got no friends, no family, no job in the States. So will she actually be willing to stand by and wait if Sam actually does get sent away?
Nungguin sampai dia keluar. It hurts me that my family keep asking me that if I want to marry Sam or not.
Now, her family seem really close, so I'm certain that Citra would have wanted to get their approval. And while Sam's past is his past, his present is definitely showing hints that he might not exactly be the most reliable partner. I mean, the guy missed a deadline for paperwork, knowing that the consequences could be jail. But while Citra's pretending that everything's okay, Sam is doing exactly the same thing too. He's off to buy a wedding ring.
Today I'm meeting my mom at a pawn shop to help me pick out a ring for Citra. It's all I can afford for right now.
When Sam originally proposed to Citra in Indonesia, he didn't have money for a ring, so he proposed with a flower. It's actually quite romantic, but the expectation was always that Sam would eventually get Citra a proper ring. Citra's a romantic girl. She seems to appreciate certain wedding traditions, but the idea of a ring goes much deeper than that for her.
I mean, it's not even about the money, it's just about, like, if you can't get me a ring, how are you gonna give me a life, you know? I really want to get a ring that Citra falls in love with.
Now, Sam is by no means financially secure, but he has been working really hard. He's shown that he's not afraid of hard work. He's been picking up double shifts and sleeping in his car. He's trying his best to provide Citra with everything that he thinks she needs. A bidet, for example, a rice cooker, and now a ring. He knows and understands its importance important to Citra. He clearly wants to be that man for Citra. But whilst it's lovely, is it enough?
I'm proud of you, Sam.
Yeah, that's gonna be the one. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's get this rung up for you.
Sam came prepared. He knew exactly what metal and what shape Citra wanted. And it's these small gestures that prove how much Sam cares. But if only he could have channeled this much energy into getting his important paperwork submitted on time. So how does Sam's religious Christian mother feel about how quickly everything's moving between him and Citra?
You know, I don't worship her religion, and I'm not letting it affect me. I'm having faith in a lot of things in their marriage, so I'm just living one day at a time.
Now, Sam has mentioned in the past that his mum has some backward thinking about Islam and all Muslim people. And while we haven't heard her voice these in front of the camera yet, it's obvious that his upcoming conversion is weighing heavily on her mind. She tells Sam that although she's happy to attend his wedding, she won't be attending his Muslim conversion ceremony.
No, I don't really want to go because we have two separate beliefs.
That shouldn't stop you from going to something important to your son.
I think Sam's mum thinks that she's being respectful by not attending something she doesn't believe in. She thinks that's better than trying to convince Sam to change his mind. And in some ways it is. But Sam just wants unconditional love and support from his mum. He's hoping for the same support from her as he's receiving from his dad. So he tells his mum this is going to be one of the most important days of his life. He'd really like her to be there for him.
It's a big moment for me. Citra's dad's gonna be there. Why can't I have my parents there? I wish she could just check those feelings for an hour or two and celebrate with me. Just be happy, you know?
We know Sam and his mum do have a strained relationship, but assuming the conversion and the wedding do still go ahead, I hope she does show up and support her son. Now, with the wedding just under a week away, Sam has booked a gorgeous farmhouse where he and Citra will get married. And until their big day, Citra and her family will be staying there. And it's safe to say they like what they see.
Sam, kalau di Indonesia rumah seperti ini rumah sultan. Apa kamu nanti setelah nikah mau tinggal di tempat ini atau gimana?
Citra translates that what her dad means to say is, does Sam hope that one day he and Citra might live in a place like this too? Sam immediately nods his head. He wants that white picket fence dream. But the problem is, that dream is much harder to achieve if you're in jail, Sam. And Citra's dad has the same concerns. The next morning, over breakfast, he decides to broach this issue with his daughter.
He worked at the drug division before, so I think that he still have concern about Sam gonna be addicted again in the future.
I think we can all agree that that is a fair concern for any dad to have, let alone a dad who works as a cop and used to work in the drug division in a country that has some of the strictest drug laws in the world. I mean, knowing that, it's a minor miracle that he's even here, that he's supported this wedding up until now. But the thing is, just like her fiance, Citra also just wants parental support free from judgment. She wants his blessing regardless of the diversion paperwork issue. But the problem is, her dad isn't ready to give his full support just yet.
Si Sam sebetulnya dia tuh kena masalah pakai obat atau narkoba.
Obat dari dokter.
Obat dokter.
Citra's dad needs more details on what exactly is going on with Sam's addiction, and Citra gives him all the information that she can. She explains that many years ago, while he was still a teenager, Sam became hooked on painkillers after trying the prescription medication of his then-girlfriend's father. But, she tells her dad, that was while he was still in his teens. He's been in recovery ever since.
Dengan kasus-kasus Sam yang alami itu, saya khawatir anak saya nanti di sini akan terbengkalai, dalam artian dia akan mengalami kesusahan di masa depannya.
Citra's dad is clearly in work mode. He calls Sam's story a case. But all the drug stuff aside, at the end of the day, he's just worried about his daughter. Sam was supposed to be able to reassure him. He was supposed to leave Citra's dad safe in the knowledge that he could return to Indonesia worry-free, knowing Citra would be looked after. But unfortunately, Sam has now done the complete opposite. And as a result, Citra's dad's approval is up in the air.
Alangkah kamu bisa pertimbangkan dengan kejadian demi kejadian. Hal yang paling terburuk kalau sekiranya Sam dapat putusan dari pengadilan, kalau Sam
Reconsider as in cancel, or reconsider as in postpone until Sam knows his sentence. Whichever he means, Citra's dad no longer sounds keen on this marriage. But will this affect Citra's decision? She has said multiple times already that without her dad's approval, she just doesn't see herself marrying Sam. But has that changed now that she's got a taste of what life with him would be like?
Ya siap. Yang dia nggak bersalah. Yang kita tahu maksudnya dia jujur.
Citra paints this picture-perfect image of a loyal wife who stands with her man through thick and thin. And while it's admirable, is it really what's for the best? Citra's own dad almost laughs at her answer. He can't help but think that her response is incredibly naive.
Breaking up is not an option. Like, I love him and he needs me to be there for him. So, like, if my dad say anything to me, like, I'm not gonna listen to him.
So Citra's made her decision. She wants to stick with Sam because she says even when things weren't going well for him, he always put her first. That, she says, speaks volumes about her future potential happiness. Now, her father tries to explain to her that marriage is for a lifetime, and given the problems that Sam has, he's concerned she might not be as happy as she imagines.
Yang Bapak tanyakan, kalau seandainya Bapak bilang, Kak, nggak usah nikah sama Sam, kamu mau?
Nggak sama sekali.
I think Citra's dad already knew that this was a long shot. He has this small sad frown on his face, like he knew that was going to be her answer. This whole season, her dad has been painted out to be a scary guy. He was painted to be someone who was going to come and potentially tear Citra away from Sam. He was going to put her in his suitcase and take her back with him to Indonesia. But that really couldn't be further from the truth. From everything we've seen, he seems concerned, but he is a patient, loving, understanding man.
Bla bla bla, dan Bapak harus udah tahu semuanya. Masalah, bahkan susah. Bapak kan nggak mau anak Bapak susah.
Look, let's just say it how it is. I don't think there's too many parents out there who'd be over the moon if their daughter brought home Sam. But if he truly is in recovery, if he manages to avoid jail, there are some really charming and promising qualities that he has. He could be a very good husband, but the problem is, those are some very big ifs. In fact, they're such big ifs that right now they kind of overshadow everything else.